Hello, I'm going to show you guys how to fix Grub2 on a virtual instance. So as you can see here, we're at a Grub Rescue environment, and I purposely broke Grub on my server to show you guys this. So I'm going to have to log on through the parent server that hosts my VPS and then fix Grub. So I got to switch to my terminal to show you guys this because obviously I can't show you our parent information. So let me just go ahead and log on real quick. And we're going to walk through this process. So my virtual instance ID is this E7PX1. And first we're going to have to stop the instance. This verse destroy command is what does it. Sounds harmful, but we're just stopping the instance. It's nothing bad. And then we're going to copy this configuration file for the instance. And the reason we're doing that is because we need to modify this. First, I got to make sure the sysres cd is here. If it's not, then I'm going to have to copy it. And it's not here. So let's go ahead and copy it over to the server. Once we copy this CD to this server, oops, my SCP command's malformed. I gotta do a couple more arguments here. And this file needs to go to Zen images. If your virtual environment's different, then it might require something else, but this is where it goes on our servers. So I can go ahead and modify the configuration file while that's copying. And there's a couple lines we need to add to this file where it shows disk type right there. We need to add a second line for a virtual CD-ROM. And we also need to add a line for the OS too. So we are adding a source file for the CD-ROM, which is going to be the file we just uploaded. At least I believe that's correct. Let me double check that. 4.61 is what we uploaded, so let me just change this slightly. And we can go ahead and do a replace here in Vim, so that's replaced. And then there's one more line we need to change. We need to change the boot device on the OS to CD-ROM. And there we go. So now we're going to start this instance with this custom configuration file. Oh, it started already. So that's fine. We're just going to destroy the domain again. And then we're going to start with this custom configuration file. And now we need to, basically there's a virtual way to connect into the instance. We have these pre-built into our system, so I can just one-click it and connect. And so I could probably make a separate video on this. This might be a little confusing, but it's basically we're connecting in through a TTY, a virtual TTY. So let's go ahead and switch back to this screen. And here's the sysrescue CDI instance. So we're just going to do default boot options, because that's all we need to do. And then once we get this booted, we're going to rebuild the Grub configuration because it's currently broken. There could be other problems with the Grub configuration too, like if your kernel is not installed, you may have to start networking and reinstall the kernel. And hold on a second here, just let me restart this environment because it kind of glitches out a little bit sometimes and you just have to reload it. There we go. So we need to find our main partition and our boot partition because we're going to mount these. So mount dev VDA3 to mount Gen2 is what we use on our rescue CD. And then we're also going to mount dev VDA1, which is our boot partition, to mount Gen2/boot. Mounting read-only, which is fine. Let me just make sure it's mounted. Yeah, it's mounted just fine. Okay. So now we're going to chroot into this environment. First, we have to do a little binding of some processes. So for dir and procdev sys do mount bind dir to mount gen2 dir. So I have a typer script that allows me to type and copy and paste over into this instance. So let me just switch the screen over to that real quick. I can post this typer script too. It's pretty simple. It just uses a couple tools so you can paste in any window. And you can see it pasted. So now we need to chroot into mount gen2 with /bin/bash. So now we're in the, basically we mounted the root partition and we chrooted into that partition. And now we're going to recreate the grub configuration, grub2, make config, and then output the file in the boot grub2 grub.cfg. And there we go. We found our images, are basically our kernels, and it rebuilt the grub configuration. If you have to start the internet, you can just do an if up at 0 at this point. At least on our servers you can, our virtual servers. No such file directory. Oh, it's probably got a different virtual name. Oh, no, it came up, so I can ping Google right now. Yep, and if I wanted to, I could do like a yum reinstall kernel. But the kernel's already up to date, so there's nothing to do. That would be if your kernel was not installed or if it was broken for some reason, you could reinstall the kernel. So that's it. I rebuilt the configuration, and we're just going to go ahead and reboot the server. And in just a moment here, I'm going to reconnect to my server once it reboots. And I'll switch that screen back over. Oops, wrong one. Oh, that's right. We need to actually stop the instance on the parent again. Because we're still booting into the rescue CD. So I just stop the instance on the parent again. And we're going to go ahead and recreate it. And that'll be it. It'll just boot here in just a moment. And I'm going to reconnect to my server. Probably up in just a few moments. And I have this alias to reconnect to my server, so there it is. It's back online. It's been online for 0 minutes. Everything's fine. So I'll be posting this information to my WordPress site so you can actually see the commands I used and how it's fixed. And I could probably post a link to the System Rescue CD too. It's just freely available software. All right, I hope that showed you something useful. Have a great day.